Welcome to our panel on data-driven startups and user-centric design, where you'll get some raw insights on how real startup founders are using data and what they think about users. So we'll just start going this way, and then we'll come back. So Pedro, why don't you start us off? Tell us who you are, what you're building, and why you're building it.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm Pedro Luraschi. I'm one of the co-founders of HAL9. And basically, we want to empower entrepreneurs and startups to build their own AI products. So we have a platform that helps them abstract and not deal with AWS and all the infrastructure challenges there. And our team helps doctors and artists and real estate agents, like basically people that are not that technical, to launch these projects.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joshua Ahmed. I'm the founder of Real Engineers, and my product is mentally made for hardware engineers. So think mechanical, electrical, basically everybody that doesn't code. And what my product is really meant to be what something like GitHub, HackerRank, or Kaggle is for software and data scientists. There's a plethora of ways today that you can verify a software engineer or a data scientist before you interview them or their resume to see how good they are. But on everybody else, there isn't. We're like 10 to 15 years behind. So my product is that, but without tests.
Hi, my name is Yinhan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Flickboom, which is an end-to-end social media marketing agency run by AI agents. So we were founded in March, and then we raised in summer, and then right now we are positive cash flow. That's the most proud part of my current company. I'm a second-time founder, so I sold one company before, and then before that I worked for Facebook AI Research. I was a research engineer on NLP. The reason why I'm building Flickboom was because my previous company, it was acquired. It was a pretty good deal, but we suck at marketing. So I'm trying to fix that problem for a lot of tech founders.
Cool. Let's see a show of hands. How many of you guys are prospective founders? Like you don't have your own company yet, but you want to be a founder? Okay. How many of you guys are current founders? Okay, cool. So, I think it's pretty obvious to most people, maybe it's not obvious, but it's pretty common knowledge that we really do care about data. And one of the things that we care about is user data. So what kind of user data do you collect at Flickboom, Yinhan?
Yeah, sure. So we have 19 paying customers. And then the most lucky part is most of them are B2C. So we were able to collect both our customers' data and their customers' data. So it's 2 layers of data. So we were able to do the modeling, to do the analytics, to understand what kind of content, what kind of product, what kind of campaign the B2C, the consumers like the most. And then we were able to modeling on top of that and then backtrack to what kind of content, what kind of topic should be made for that brand. So 2 layers of data, our customers and their customers.
So my product is for hardware engineers, and their data is their work. So mechanical engineers are really easy to understand, 3D modeling and things like that. So it's not text data, but it's 3D modeling data of how parts are made. That's one example. For electrical engineers, like schematics, and you go on and on, right? Chemical engineers, it's their project reports or their theses. So I have a plethora of types of data, but they're all around, centered around my main customers, whatever work they make. And that is really my moat even, right? Because a lot of software engineers, like you can see their first line of code written on GitHub, and now they're like 10 years later and you still have it. And for ours, we forget where we keep our work because it isn't useful. There isn't a place for other people to see it and show it off. So that is the data I collect.
Yeah, similar to you, we also have like those 2 layers. About the product is the boring part because it's mostly logs and the technical side of it. But the fun part is when we have that conversation with our clients, and we also help them collect data from their own customers. Usually, the regular thing like forms that the user can fill and inform the product that we are building with them. But I think the fun part is also leveraging data sets that are already out there. Obviously, data sets that you can find on Kaggle and things like that. But yeah, part of the challenge is that our clients are small startups also, and they don't have a lot of resources to create a big data set, no? So we also help them to leverage things that are already out there.
How many of you guys are selling B2B, enterprise sales? No. B2C, you guys are doing B2C sales? No, some of you guys are founders over here who are not doing sales, so that doesn't seem very good. Well, I want to ask you guys about something that is very important in B2B. It's probably less important in B2C, but there's a difference between the buyer and the user. So how do you kind of, put that together, and how do you talk to the buyer, how do you talk to the user, how do you collect and separate that data and use that data?
Yeah, that's one of the big challenges I think everyone has, like building a product. I think during our journey we have, right now where we are at, where our customer is the founder of a company, it's easier because usually that person is an expert in their field and they have that knowledge, and we're helping that person build their product. But also that person is trying to appeal to another user who might not be the actual buyer. When we were back in that situation, when we started the company a few years ago, we were trying to get enterprises or medium-sized companies to work with us. And yes, usually the conclusion that we got was that you want to approach both ends, both the user, and you obviously need to be very appealing to the user, but also you need to talk to the CEO or the decision maker, and that's usually where you need to. I think that the tip that I could give if you are considering doing that is maybe get some help. If you're very technical, you probably. It was very useful for us to get a sales coach that was attending our meetings and gave us help through that process. But yeah, if you're technical, you should be aware that that's a big part of the job, being an entrepreneur.
I agree with him. I'm technical as well, but I'm forced to do it. I've gotten some help for sales, but it's really difficult. But to address the question, my ultimate goal is I want my product to be used by like big companies like Boeing and Lockheed. But there's so much red tape because there are not just one layer of difference between the user and the buyer. There's 10 layers of difference between the user and buyer. I need to like get approval from like a VP, and so that was like one of my major pivots. I was like, I came from those companies, but I still can't get into the door. So I started pivoting to smaller agencies, smaller recruiting agencies who are actually my paying customer. And it was a lot easier because they're one removed from my user or they're the user themselves. And that took a lot of time to figure out. And I mean, it sucks, but you just have to talk to people. Perplexity can only give you so many good answers. And so I had to just go out, sometimes make phone calls. And that's really hard as a technical founder, right? I don't want to talk to people, but you have to, yeah.
I think that was a really good point. So, for especially if you do enterprise sales, I think that's very challenging. So, especially for technical founders. So, my previous startup was enterprise sales. Our customer, including the biggest medical device company, Medtronic, and the VA, like getting 7 signatures took 7 months. So, so that's the license I learned. So if you are on the early stage, which you are building your product, so the most efficient way to do it is starting with really small customers, and then they can help you tune your product. So for example, for my current company, we start with content creation rather than campaign management, and then after we work with our customer, work with their data, we figure out it makes more sense to put 70% of effort into campaign management, how to do a really good campaign, rather than 70% of effort into the content creation part. So that's basically what we learned during our way, and then we start to approach more bigger companies. So we start with a couple $100 contract monthly, and then go to a couple thousand. Right now we are getting our first $20K per month contract. It's not signed, but it's on its way. So this is the way early stage, just talk to the approachable, got someone who you can talk to, you can really work with, and then start to build your product, tune your product. After you figure out things, then start the upgrade sales.
Cool. Let's hear about some of the insights that you may have gotten from users. So what has been the most useful user feedback that you've gotten for your company?
So early stage is like the first 3 months. We learned from our customers. So we thought content was very important, and then we work with our customer who have an internal team to manage their campaign, and they were so nice to share their campaign data with us, and then we figure out. Actually, if you do your campaign this way, it's better because you can save like your CAC is like 1/3 of is supposed to be. So we keep watching it. We didn't say anything for 3 months, and then and after that we were like having enough solid proof. We were like, what about you try this? And then after we tried, the CAC dropped from $98 to $21 per paying customer. So it's like observations from their data because the customer is big enough. They were spending like 30K per month on the campaign. So we were able to observe a lot of data and then learn from their data.
So the question is, what big thing I learned from my customers?
What is the most interesting or important thing that you've learned from users, customers?
Yeah, I think I'll do my most recent one. So I was going to price my product around like $100, and then I was talking to a lot of customers, and they were all like, "Yeah, we'll get our boss's boss, even in the smaller enterprise, to go approve it." And then one customer says like, "Hey, look, if there's any expense under $50, I don't have to expense it, and I can just buy it myself." And I was like, "Hold on, I need to get off the ground. I'm not trying to make thousands of dollars with my first customers." So I charged it $49.99, and now boom, boom, boom. And I was like, but that just came out of a conversation. I didn't even know how to ask that question. And so that little insight, half a second conversation, got me my first few customers. And yeah, it's still not a lot of money, but it got me off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to listen to them. And maybe one of the things that I have learned, maybe it's not properly feedback, but one thing is keep a channel open to getting feedback. We learned that you have to schedule a meeting. In our case, we usually do weekly meetings, and we schedule that recurring meeting on the calendar, and everyone knows that we have that meeting with customers. No, so at the beginning we would schedule like 1-to-1, and then you schedule the next meeting, and then you start losing contact with them. So yeah, just having that on their calendar is super useful. The other thing that I learned is we work with a lot of technical founders like us, and usually they kind of have a vision of the product that is too far away in the future. Like they imagine the Lamborghini version of their product, and I realized that kind of my job was to scale down their ideas to something very, very, very simple. So I think I also take that feedback for ourselves on our product development. Is like it's better to build something very simple that is, that delivers on the promise that you're giving away, than trying to build something super shiny with a lot of features that won't deliver.
Okay, let's get into something fun and spicy. What has been your worst user experience? Your worst experience with a user, not the worst user experience that you've had with the product.
Oh my God, like I have so many stories. I mean, I think it's part of the job. Like, yeah, if you're not getting bad feedback, probably you're not open to getting feedback. But yeah, I mean, I remember, I'm thinking like I have so many, but some of them like would not get what you're trying to offer. And probably those are the most painful. Rather, like I've heard some like this is unuseful, or I prefer the competition. No, like those always hurt, but but at least you can talk about features and the like. But I think that the hardest are the ones where they don't even get what you're trying to offer, And it's obviously on us. I think part of being a founder is being really good at explaining what you do, which is sometimes challenging. Sometimes it's useful, like you were describing your product, no? It's like a GitHub, but for something different, like having those under your belt, like this is an X for Y. It's useful, but yeah, like just speaking to someone for 30 minutes and they still don't get what you do, like that's hard.
Yeah, one of my customers, for instance, was like they just didn't get what I was doing, and I realized a while later that they were actually the wrong customer. Like they wouldn't be interested in my product as well, but I didn't figure that out at the time, and this person was just not getting it. And what happened is that they were an executive recruiter. They weren't recruiting for hardware engineers, so they didn't even live in the same world. They hired CEOs, VP level stuff, while my product is for a mechanical engineer graduating from college, right? So they didn't even understand. And everything was just like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I ever use that? And then they even got offended at my problem statement, which was that recruiters, they usually have psychology degrees and they're working for big companies recruiting. They're not engineers. That's basically my problem statement. Like, you don't really know what you're hiring from. You don't know the difference between a Raspberry Pi and a single board computer and things like that. And they were offended by it. You could tell them they're pissed off in their face. And yeah, that was a bad experience. And then a week later, I did some more research and I was like, hold on, this person lives in a completely different world. There's no world where this person would actually buy my product. And I just had to sleep it off and move on.
So our worst customer treat us as a consulting firm. So it's like completely agency. It's instead of AI agents empowered AI startup. So so basically they were like, oh, your stuff is too AI. We want it's more human. And then at the beginning it was completely fine because our product was not there yet. So, but after we were able to build our product and then found that was a very corner unique case, and then that's not gonna be something scalable, and then we fired them after we raised. So having some like money in the pocket is very important, especially for those big company. Actually, that was the only public company customer we had before, but right now we are catching up on that side. So. It's not scalable, so but it's a really good money before we raise. It's a really good outreach money.
That's funny. Okay, what is a tip that you would give to an early stage founder that is currently just a few months into starting their company?
The two part, one is building the company, one is like being a founder. So for building a company, I assume most of people are like technical founders. So one thing we really miss, which is test the market. You think your product will work. That doesn't matter. It's like other people will pay for it really matters. Especially to B2B, you probably have some good meetings and the people were like, oh, I feel really excited. This is gonna rock the world. And then once like you launch and then you approach them, they disappear. So a lot of people are that. Like I haven't seen tons of people like that. So having enough signal from the market is very important before you fully commit to it, because everyone is a human, it's emotional, it's your idea, your baby, so you probably think it different from the really product market fit. So this is from the building perspective. The other perspective is from being a founder perspective. It's very important to be mentally healthy while you are building your product. So so everything like when you feel exhausted, feel like nervous, just stop for a little bit and think like, well, these things still bother you a month later. If doesn't, then that means this never is not important. So it never matters. So just relax, enjoying every single moment. You should really enjoy the way of building the product, building the company. If it not goes anywhere, then it's fine because you're having fun during your way of building it. 99% of company won't make it. So that's the hard truth. So you are lucky if you are the 1%, but most likely it's gonna be you are the 99% of chance you are the 99%. So enjoying the days, do not like kill yourself.
I agree with your last point. Yeah, I think it's so easy for me to get emotionally attached to my product. And like, yeah, even I'm saying this now, but it was still hard for me to follow. Like, you got to talk to customers. You think it's the best thing in the world. And the way I started describing it is like, sometimes I feel like my customers are cats. You buy them like a really nice toy from Amazon. You spend $100 on it. And you're like, hey, check out this toy. I spent so much time and money on it, and they're playing with the box, this other thing you barely put any time in. And I was like, that's important? And yeah, so, and I've had many of those situations. I was like, that was a side thing. Why is that a big deal? And that was the big deal. And so I was lucky enough to have those moments. At least it wasn't like, well, this is completely useless. So I was happy. But yeah, talking to your customers, and I think the emotional part was really difficult for me. Like, I got so emotionally attached to my product and thinking like it's gonna rock the world, but it doesn't matter what I think, right? It matters is someone willing to pull out their wallet and pull out their credit card.
Yeah, those two things are really true. You have to take care of yourself, mental health, all that. It's important. And yes, emotional attachment, mostly when you're technical, and I think mostly everyone here, we're all technical, you not only get attached emotionally, but also you have so much technical insight into the product that you kind of know that it's better than everything outside, but that's not your job. Your job is to actually create something of value, no? So that difference is important. I would maybe add, I'm thinking, I usually work with a lot of founders, and I see also this fear of showing something that is incomplete. And yeah, it's connected to the emotional attachment. But I think, we probably you've heard this idea of making your first customer super happy. And usually you can fool yourself and tweak the definition of what a happy customer is. Like 100 likes on your LinkedIn post is not a happy customer, or someone that tells you like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And to me, the moment I realized this was when our customers starting to depend. It was a kind of a life or death dependency on us, because if our product failed, the product would fail and their business was bankrupt. When we were doing other projects, like we were something like an accessory, like businesses were like experimenting with AI and the like, and they were happy, but they were not like, like betting on the thing to work. And that's usually, like, it also has to do with this emotional side of being, responsible of something that is super critical. But to me, the measure is like, if my customer is not going to cry if my product doesn't work tomorrow, like there's no, like, we might be fooling ourselves, no? Like it might be, like a pet project of someone that wants to impress their boss, or, like just say that they're using AI. But yeah, you need to really be aware that the customer is betting on you, right?
How much user data or how many user interviews should you do before deciding, whether or not you're going down the right path?
Oh my God, that's so hard to answer, because I've been like through my journey. I have approached that question from like setting a number, and for some of the earlier versions of our product, we did like 200 interviews with data scientists. We at some point we were targeting data scientists, and after interview 30 or 40, you already had the pattern, right? And also having like a number in your head can also trick you, because maybe you're like, yeah, maybe when I hit 100, I will actually hear what I want to hear, right? So I don't think it's probably the number is above 5 or 10. Like if you just interview one person, probably you don't have enough data. But also, I think it's mostly about being open enough to hear what people are telling you, right? Like the example that you gave about the box, like I have that experience so many times in my life, where you build something and the user focuses on this tiny feature that maybe you built over a weekend. No, it was such a tiny detail, and the user is so much excited about it that you don't want to get rid of everything else, but you must do it, because otherwise you're just building, a castle in the sky that no one will get, and giving away that investment is sometimes painful, but you have to do it.
Yeah, I think that's a really hard. It's never enough. It's never enough. I think one of the biggest mistakes I made was I was like, okay, I think I've had enough. Let me go work on the product a little more. I should have spent more time talking to people, and then use them. And I think one of the more difficult things for me is, now that I'm in Seattle, this is a very software-focused place. Like when I go around and I say I'm an engineer, there's no question I'm a full-stack developer or something. It's like, you're a software. I was like, no, I'm not. And my customers are all over the place. So I was like, okay, I should actually talk to more people over there, because all my first paying customers from like Phoenix, Arizona, Maryland, and from the East Coast, not here. And there's no question in their minds when I asked them, I was like, are you an engineer? I was like, okay, the next question is obviously is like, okay, mechanical, electrical, what are you? It's not automatically assumed you're software. So I would say it's never enough. So I follow that Y Combinator rule. If it's not talking to customers or building the product, it's probably a waste of time. And there's easy to confuse yourself with fake work and waste your time. It's so easy.
I think it's very case by case, and I can give you two extreme cases. One is if it's enterprise sales, it's $1 million contract ARR from one customer. If this customer is a yes, and then they would like to pay you, no matter it's consulting or it's whatever, just take it. $1 million contract ARR can guarantee you raise $10 million from top VC. So one is enough. One yes is completely enough. I mean, like sign the contract. If it's B2C, then that's even simpler, right? If your subscription is $99 per month, then if you got 1,000 visits to your app, to your website, and no one pays for it, then that's no. There is no product market fit. It's very simple, just numbers. It's very simple to get 1,000 visits from the internet to your website by using us, Flipbook. Yes, you can get it simply. And then everything in the between is gonna be case to case. So definitely the more the better, but it depends on your contract size. It depends on a lot of things. And then even today, actually user retention doesn't matter. Like 50% is a good number. It's already a good number. Even OpenAI is like lower than 50%. So don't like early stage. Don't even bother like retention. Just get depends on your subscription price, and then get enough traffic. If no one would like to pay for it, then just work on something else.
I'm out of questions, so we should open up to the audience.
All right, what questions do we have?
So you mentioned for technical founders, sales is something that you kind of have to learn and invest in. What other business areas would you say you also had to learn or you wish you had learned before starting?
I think it'd be loud on social media as a founder. That's very important. It can help you fundraise very fast.
My answer is the same. Even before I was a founder, my Instagram had like 6 photos. Like I was never that into social media, and my answer is the same as hers. I wish I was. Like I keep getting from my initial angel investor and everybody else, you got to be a thought leader. Go post more on LinkedIn. And I'm trying to, but thoughts like that never crossed my head until now.
Yeah, I think it's a personality is always the opposite, but the thing that I have learned is that it's also important to partner with also your opposite. And it also, I also seen this pattern, I follow this pattern where you as technical tend to pair with other technical co-founders, which sometimes is good, like you can complement each other on a technical level. But usually, like in my previous company, I partner with, my background is in robotics, I didn't say that, but I'm technical. But in that company, one of my co-founders was a pedagogue, no? Like her expertise was completely different. We were in different points in life. She's a mother, I was younger, just out of college. So I think also, you don't necessarily, I think we've been forced to develop those skills, which is a valid strategy, but also kind of pairing and partnering with someone that complements you, it's a good idea.
What other questions do people have? I have a question. I'm wondering, did you ever imagine or see yourself as a founder growing up? Like what was the motivation for becoming a founder? How did you get started?
Thanks, yeah, probably the three of us want to answer that one. But at least in my case, I think I always had that idea growing up. But when I was out of college, I think it's normal to have like that idea of getting hired at a big company. So I joined Ford. I was doing product development there. But after a couple of months and realizing, I learned a lot, and I'm grateful for everything that I learned there. But just realizing, at the moment, I was really excited about electric cars, and I was working in the electrical system of the F-150. And I remember really vividly one conversation with my boss's boss. I had one of those skip one-to-ones. And And I was saying something like, yeah, I'm really excited about the new electric cars. They were developing the new Mustang. And I was like, I want to work there. Like, what needs to happen for me to work in electric cars? And I remember that conversation, and my career plan was like 15 years to see if I could join the team that I wanted to work in. I was like, no, like, I'm learning a lot, but this is probably not my thing. And yeah, I quit and I started doing other stuff outside. I don't know if it's also a personality thing. I really felt really constrained working at a big company, but I also have some friends, other founders. For example, my co-founder used to work at Microsoft for more than 10 years. And again, he learned a lot and it was different life path, but now we are working together now. So yeah, again, it's also one of those personality things, I think, that I'm curious about your stories.
No, I never wanted to be a founder. I never thought about it. I just wanted to work on fighter jets. That was my initial thing. And so I spent 5 years at Lockheed working on fighter jets. And I built this algorithm, and it was like I got promoted for it, and they're like, you got to build a team so you can productionize it and put it on the jet. And I was like, okay. And I needed software engineers, a data engineer, RF engineer, radio frequency, and electrical engineers. And so this is my first time hiring. And that's when I started noticing this. And one of those RF engineers just ended up being, ooh, you know, and it was before AI too. And I remember like, how did you fool me? And things really took a turn. And then I was like, I need a break. And so then I moved here to work for Boeing for satellite programs. And I saw the same thing. I was working less software and I saw the same thing. And so I was like, okay, let me see if I can do something about this. And I thought it for a while, and then I realized being a founder and starting my own company is the best way to solve this problem. And that's the first time I ever thought about being a founder.
For me, it was a long story, but pretty short. I never thought I'm good enough to be a founder. And then what's funny that in 2019, I was in Hong Kong for a conference, NLP conference, YAML conference. And then I checked the house there, and then I was surprised by how expensive the Hong Kong house. And then I went back to Seattle and did a math calculation, and then turns out, like, at that time I worked for Facebook. So it turns out if I work for Facebook for 30 years, I won't be able to buy a house in Hong Kong. That's seriously. So actually, I feel Asia is more like, you know, giving people more motivated because like the people got paid very differently in Asia than in United States. Like United States, it's like people can live really comfortably. So that was basically the first time I got a concept. It's like, you know, I work hard, but I see the savings. So that was basically the motivation. The first time I thought about it, and then a lot of things happened, and then I happened to be in the position of being a founder, and then as being a female founder. Actually, I never been a really confident enough person to be a founder, but I just saw it. For my first company, I was the CTO. I was able to sell the company, and then I found that was my first time doing this, and then end up like I made more than Facebook. So I was like, okay, so probably I can try to be the CEO, and then I start my first fundraising being the CEO as a female founder, and then I was like surprised I was able to raise. It's just like what happened make me feel I'm a little bit more qualified than I thought originally. So another thing is like you never know what happens, so just try smartly, and then life will surprise you.
Hello, thank you first of all for being here and giving us your time and your experience. I'm a firm believer that humans generally create something very beautiful when it comes to just being in a situation where you're desperate. And so I kind of want to understand, as a group of founders, is there something that you could potentially agree on, which is something that all of you have faced as a difficulty throughout your journey as a founder? And if so, what is that thing?
So basically you're asking like what kind of difficulties we were facing? Oh, it's really, really hard. Everything is hard. So there is no easy day. Like every day was a hard day. So so for example, right now I found like when our account managers using our tool to serve our customers, 80% of their time is on our tool. The other 20% of their time is on others' tool, like other tool. There is like no second. There is like another 10 tools together to deliver. So we know this is a problem, but we don't figure out a way to fix it. We don't know how to close that 20% gap of being kind of human labor rather than AI. And then I don't even know if that something can be fixed. So every day is very challenging. Another thing is like this is crowded. Everything is so crowded today, and then every day there is something on the news saying that, oh, they are like a new generation game changer, blah, 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 and then it's a competitor. So I don't see anything easy. It's hard to answer the question by what is difficult. It's easier to answer the question is like, actually, what is the easy day? Easy day is always the weekend. You don't need to think about the business.
Yeah, everything's hard. I think the one thing we can agree on is one of her last statements: on the bad days, don't end it. I've had days where, like the customers one, where I didn't realize I was completely talking to the wrong person, and they were so offended, and I was just like questioning my entire existence. Like, I quit my job, like, why am I here? And I let that one customer get to me, and then a week later, like, I should have followed her advice, which was like, if it's gonna bother you from a month from now, don't. But I didn't know that at the time. And yeah, you have the lowest of lows, and then you'll have one meeting and one contract signed, then you have the highest of highs. So it's a roller coaster. It sucks. Yeah, I feel like a lot of movies and even these places, we kind of romanticize being a founder, but it's not as romantic as it looks from the outside. You're just, yeah, I think that's all I gotta say.
I'm not sure we're fulfilling the goal of encouraging you to start your own startup. But what I do, like, I think I would classify the difficulties in two baskets. There's these difficulties where you learn from them, and I think it's healthy to have like this fun approach and laugh about it. I remember not so much a long time ago, we pitched to this VC, and we thought it was a really good pitch. And by the end of the pitch, this guy basically asked us to hire him because he wants to quit his job at this VC. So we were like, yeah, we were trying to get money from you, and you're trying to work for us. So you have those stories. To me, I don't know if you were already working on your startup during the pandemic. To me, that was that was the other basket where it's not only like the difficulties of the business, but also personal or family issues, no? And to me, at least, I was working on my previous company, and like my employees' family were sick, and my family was also sick. Like that was like another level of hard. I on my previous company before that one, my co-founder got cancer, and like that was really, really bad. No, so I think just I don't know if being here for so many years gives me that perspective of things can be really, really worse than the daily difficulties, which could be hard, but at least I try to laugh about them, and I learned to keep an eye on like mental health and regular health and the health on my team, and I've also drawn a line. Luckily, I haven't crossed that line, but I know that there's a line. When I was younger as a person and younger as a founder, I wasn't aware of what line I was not comfortable crossing, right? And I think if you want to do this, you should be aware of what that means in terms of your family, of your also personal money, because I've seen a lot of people, getting like a second mortgage and getting divorced, and like things can go really, really bad on your personal life. And I don't know what's the answer. I think everyone should draw that line. It could mean different things for everyone. But just being aware of when you're in the honeymoon phase and everything is perfect, to know where's the line and how far you want to go. Because also, as you were saying, like also at some point you have to look at the evidence and say like, I'm building something that no one is paying for. Like I have to do a change, right? So yeah, you should be aware of where's the space where you want to move to feel comfortable in.
All right, we are at time. So our next session will start at 4:05. Please give a round of applause to our panelists.